Hi, everybody. I hope you're doing great today. Thank you for your patience as I'm getting all set up here. Good to see you. I'm in the middle of a move again, as you probably saw with the change in time. So thank you for being basically flexible with the time change here. So long story short, you picked up on it over the course of the last month. It's kind of interesting when we think of picking up psychic energy on objects. Psychometry, is that what it is? But basically, sometimes you have to spend some time with an object. If you ever look at a medium that will, for instance, I just took my watch off and they'll take a watch and they'll read it. They have to sort of sit with it for a second. So as I sat here with this space for the past couple months, I started to pick up on issues and I realized this was not the space. So we'll have a story time later about all of the stuff that happened and maybe even kind of the interesting, I think this is a podcast topic about different ways of reading, like when you read a person, when you read a place, when you read even things in time and space, which we'll be talking about today. There's different approaches to how that works. And some things are instantaneous. Some things take a little bit of time and they start to reveal themselves to you. When I started to have my intuitive awakening back in 2008 or 9, I had this really cool thing where I was gifted past life flashbacks, maybe a series of a dozen or so. But it took a year or so, and I haven't had a lot recently, but we see things exactly when we need to see things, and we then have a choice to do what we want to do with that. And that's kind of an important side note as we get into today's special topic, which is all about what would a future you tell you to change in your moment, in your life right now? Everything that we look at today is going to have a little bit of that energy. How can you save yourself some trouble, some time, some money, maybe even some heartache? So this is definitely one of my favorite recurring topics that I put on the list. And invariably, it usually reaches the top because who doesn't want to avoid doing something that you don't want to do? So that's basically what we're going to look at today. And again, thanks for being flexible. So I will be moving tomorrow, and then probably on Tuesday, I will do the reading that I normally would do on Monday. So I'll put a couple of videos up for you to hit the reminders for next week. And then the times and the dates may flex a little bit next week, and then we should go back into a normal forecast. And basically I will be temporarily at a place for a month until I find, maybe a month or two, until I find a nice space. I'm not going to rush this time. And I was talking to actually a family member too. We'll get into the reading here in just a second, but these are all relevant things. But whenever you're going through massive changes, so if you're very, very stressed, or if you're grieving, and both of those things were happening to me. I just lost a family member. There was a lot of stress in my life. It's my cousin's wife. She reminded me. She said, the veil of mourning, it's not just something that we used to wear. It's actually like a veil that clouds our view of what's going on. And I said, yeah, you're right. And so it's a good lesson there, and one that I won't forget, to basically give yourself time and space to heal. And so anyway, I'm so happy that intuition comes through, and I had my own time traveling telegram basically saying, you've got to go, and I listened to it. So today, let's see what telegrams come through for you. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. We're actually not doing the monthly here, so let me take that off. We're going to be doing the collective reading. The collective is a 7-day forecast that's going to help you navigate through all of the opportunities in the week ahead. And then we will also do a deeper dive into a special topic, which, as you can tell from the thumbnail and also the title and what I just talked about, will be a time traveling telegram. And it's basically imagining that a future version of yourself or your guides from the future are coming through and saying, hey, this is what we see. Are you sure you want to do it? Or don't miss out on this. So it's basically like getting a future issue of the newspaper, and it gives you a chance to prepare. Okay? Tarot in general always gives you some preparation, but we're really going to look at it through the lens of what should I do and what should I try to avoid. And then you always get the free will to decide if that resonates with you. Okay? Apollo's sleeping in the other room. When he comes in, I'll lift him up to say hello, but we got a lot to talk about today. Here's the basic layout of what we're going to be doing. We'll start with channeled messages first, then the 7-day forecast. Then we'll get into some little pieces before we go into that main topic, and I'll talk about them as we get closer to it. Please subscribe if you haven't already done that, especially over the course of the next couple of months where my schedule may be slightly less predictable than it used to be. I definitely don't want you to miss out on anything. So it's free and it helps the channel grow and it will help you stay in touch. You can also follow me on social media. I was busy this morning posting everything, which is why I was a little bit late for this. And after this, we're going to take the lights and cameras down and I got to pack. So I'm going to try to record one more daily reading so that it's up for tomorrow. But aside from that, it's time to pack after this. So definitely follow me on social media so you can stay in touch. Super stickers and super chats are always welcome. They help me do more videos. They'll help me eventually launch the podcast. And they're completely optional, of course, but it's a great way to give back. Same thing with the membership. So if you feel like doing it, I appreciate it. And otherwise, just thank you for showing up and supporting the channel. That helps as well. All right, folks, let's get into your channeled messages. Channeled messages come from Spirit. And today I really just wanted to focus on this idea of time as a construct. So I wanted to geek out a little bit. We're going to keep it high level because we have so much to talk about today. But time is interesting because we focus on it so much. I know when I used to have more of a traditional 9-to-5 job, there are people where that's their job, project managers. They are looking at timelines, they are looking at budgets, and they are keeping people accountable to that. So we've actually created whole career paths that just look at deadlines, right? And so I don't miss that because one of the things that was interesting is a lot of times when you're working in a company, time is no longer your own, and your time is no longer your own. Even though I'm packing, I had dinner with friends last night. I really needed the distraction and I appreciated it. But I saw one of my friends with 2 phones, and that was something I used to have to carry for work. And I was like, oh, that's your work phone, isn't it? And I remember having that. It was almost like an extra, like a brick that you were carrying behind you. I often use the analogy of A Christmas Carol, but like Jacob Marley, where he had all of those things weighing him down. So time is sometimes one of those, and this feeling like you can't leave things behind and you have to get things done, and where are you out on this, and will this be done by tomorrow? And if we could go into the ethers and look down, we would realize how irrelevant it is. And my mom, who's in Spirit, reminds me of that too. She's like, it'll be fine. Everything's going to work out. She's no longer tethered by time, and she used to be very time oriented. So I've seen a shift once her spirit went into the ethers. So it's not so important as we earthly beings think it is. And that's what we're going to talk about in these 3 short slides today. So I was reading an article on space.com, and there was this British physicist, Julian Barber. And this was the quote from this physicist: "Change is real, but time is not." And this is, of course, the opinion of a physicist. There are different opinions out there. Time is only a reflection of change. Think about that. Change is real, but time is not. Time is a reflection of change. So if we think about looking at our school yearbook photos, we are like this universal, ageless, timeless soul, but the body on this planet will shift over the years. And so it's the change in our appearance that marks the changing of time. It's the change of the seasons that marks the changing of the time. It's the difference of light and dark that marks it. But is it real, or is it just our observation? Because time, I didn't even have time to put it on this, but it's coming to me as we're talking. Time here versus Jupiter versus Mars versus Venus, it passes kind of differently, right? The days are longer or shorter, the years are longer or shorter based on gravitation. Well, yeah, the rotation basically of the planet and also the orbit. So even what a day is constitutes changes from planet to planet. So already we know that it's kind of a messy construct. It says our brains construct a sense of time as if it were flowing, but it really isn't, and it is different in different places. All the evidence we have for time is encoded in static configurations, which we see or experience subjectively. It's opinion, it's experiential. All of them fitting together to make it seem linear. So it seems like it's important, it seems like it's flowing in a certain way, but it isn't necessarily. And you've probably noticed this based on your age. I've talked about this before, but when you're a kid, summers seem to last forever. School years take so long. And then all of a sudden, when you're an adult, you look at your watch and you're like, where did the last 5 years go, right? Because you're so focused on, and also age in general, you might think as a kid that 30 or 40 is ancient, but once you hit those ages, you're like, this is young. What was I thinking? And, like life goes by quickly, ages are subjective, and we start to realize it's not so important. So the takeaway here is that basically we shouldn't focus on deadlines, milestones, and comparing ourselves to others as much as we do. The minute we start to realize that we're where we need to be and opportunities are around us, that's why I featured the Three of Wands, we can then start to make the most of the moment. And we'll see that what we need is right in front of us and that we can succeed in this moment. So right now you're manifesting something wonderful if you want to, or you could be manifesting something difficult. The choice is up to you, right? So we're going to manifest something wonderful today. Three of Wands. Time versus speed, which I just kind of alluded to. If we look at one example here, time slows down near a black hole due to extreme gravitational field around it. Look at the movie Interstellar, for instance, and there's some cool sort of I would say it's fictional, but there's some cool stories about, like a few minutes on the planet equaling a lifetime back on Earth because it was so close to the black hole. The gravity of something in our life can act much like a black hole does. We've all had people in our lives that seem to like suck up time and energy, jobs that suck up time and energy. You can also have, things that, sorry, I'm looking at one thing here. I want to fix a typo, take up a central focus. We have people things, and opportunities that can sometimes monopolize our focus. And what you really want to do is to reclaim that. You always have the ability to take the power back. So this is your moment to do that. And this is your moment to, instead of having like a black hole, have a sun, which is creating light and energy and moving things into an organizational pattern rather than sort of like consuming them. The Eight of Wands is interesting choice here that I wanted to show because sometimes we get lost in the shuffle. And so I want you to slow down a moment or two today to realize that you're not just one of those wands flying through the air. You're the sun that's kind of like picking all of the orbits, picking all of the speeds, controlling the gravity. You're not just beholden to someone else's gravity, okay? And then I picked a line from Battlestar Galactica, but it's a line that's been out there for a long time. All this has happened before, but my little spin on this is it doesn't have to happen again. Our immortal souls have lived countless incarnations. Some of us have lived more than others, but we've been around a few times. I picked the Judgment card because the reason we come back, first of all, this represents reincarnation, but the reason that we come back is to try something differently. We want to meet the same people and have different experiences with them. We want to go through the same sort of pattern and then maybe have a different outcome. We're experimenting, basically, and we're trying to become smarter, better, and break down these patterns that haven't been working before. So this time around, you leave earlier and avoid something, or this time you say yes sooner so that you can experience something joyful. That's the essence of today's reading, is that yes, we've probably done some of this before. That means that you're capable of coping with it. That means you don't have to repeat history. And that means that this time it could be really amazing. So that's my hope for all of us. Never beat yourself up in any experience. It's always adding to that core energy from the soul that allows you to be wiser and stronger and more capable of succeeding. Okay? Let me get ready here for the 7-day forecast. We're going to start a little granular. We kind of do the opposite of I guess it would be like it's a regular pyramid actually. We'll go granular and then we'll get more general as we go through this. So we're going to take a look at the next 7 days and then we're going to see what's coming through. We'll start with this first. So let me just zoom in on the table. By the way, this is for everyone, just in case you just joined. Everything is very general until we hit the elemental forecast where I'll go into all 12 signs grouped in the 4 elements. Otherwise, everything that I'm talking about is for everyone that's present or who watches this on replay. Okay, just wanted to talk about that so that there was no questions. I see someone who said they worked on that film. That's a really cool film. I love anything about like time and space and fantasy. Yeah, like 2001 is another great movie from, what was that, the 60s and 70s. But yeah, it's cool to see movies that are done well that kind of take us places we haven't been before. All right, let's focus on the next 7 days. Actually, it's going to be the next 8 days because I'm going to take us from Saturday to Sunday since I'm doing this a day early. Saturday and Sunday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. All right, let's get these all visible for you. Perfect. Okay, we're going to start with today, which is the Awakening card here. We have the Eight of Swords. The Eight of Swords can sometimes feel like I'm out of control or you're out of control. You can't see something. But what I love on this one is we can see really how fragile and how maybe inaccurate that feeling is. We see all of these strings, but the strings can be cut. And I think that's one of the things today is reclaiming power and then just taking the blindfolds off or moving those swords away. In the traditional Eight of Swords, the person has blindfolds, there's swords around them, but there's actually nothing blocking them from moving forward or moving away from that feeling of being blocked or that illusion of not being able to see. A lot of times with the Two and the Eight of Swords, there's a desire to it's kind of like la 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 la, putting your hands in your ears and blindfolding yourself so that you don't have to deal with the problem. Today, Saturday, I would say the most important thing that you can do, and this is a complement to my one card pull, which I'll find a blending of the two in just a second, but for what we're looking at today, because it's a different lens here, we're looking at what your future you would tell you. It would say, you know what? Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to look at this. If you deal with it now, it's going to be better. You're going to inform yourself. You're going to get started on this. You're going to feel like you're more in control. It'll be all right. You may not want to see it. You may not want to hear it, but it's there nonetheless. And no amount of ignoring is going to make it go away. So to get your power back today, to get your vision back today, you just have to decide to do something about it. We had a very euphoric card that I pulled for today's one card pull, which was the Nine of Cups. And I compared it to this really cool line in Practical Magic, which is one of my favorite movies, where Nicole Kidman is talking to one of her nieces about falling in love. And the little girl wants to fall in love. And she's kind of giving her a warning. And she says, it's like spinning around in circles and your head gets dizzy and your feet, you can't quite touch the ground and you just feel like you're floating. It's euphoria. So sometimes we can be so much in an emotion. It can also be depression because the Nine of Cups cuts both ways. So if you're in one extreme or another, you're not necessarily in the best mind to see something. This is what I was talking about where my cousin's wife was saying, the veil of joy, the veil of sadness keeps us from seeing the true essence of things. So if you are in that euphoria or the depression, or if you are afraid to look at something, get someone in there to help you out, an expert, a friend, an objective third party, and that's going to help you out. You just need like that extra point of view today, and I think that can help you. There definitely is an overlap between Nine of Cups and Eight of Swords because the emotions becomes the blindfold or basically the cotton in your ears. And, just this week I was having communications with someone who I just didn't listen. Didn't matter how I was trying to talk to them, but there was fear interfering with their ability to hear and to see. And I had a face-to-face, and then I also, had a text interaction. I'm like, this person just isn't present. And so there's no advantage to having any more communication until they're past their fear. So pay attention to others around you and see if their lack of listening is actually due to that distraction of the emotion, and then also tune into yourself. Very important message. And today is kicking off the next week, so we really want to make sure that that's dealt with sooner than later. All right, so let me just zoom in on cards a little bit more. Tomorrow, this is very indicative of what I'll be going through, but tomorrow's a new beginning, and it's a reset. So whatever you've been going through, let it go. The Fool in reverse can indicate hesitation and wondering like, should I do this or what is this going to entail? But the Fool itself is always a little bit carefree and says, just go with it. Don't overthink it. I think what's important is always to have a contingency plan as we look at the alligator there. Make sure you know what you're getting into. Make sure that you have insurances and assurances that will help you navigate the change, but change is inevitable. And change can be done during a retrograde. The Fool is like just taking a step in the direction of it. It doesn't have to be as radical as what I'll be doing tomorrow, but what you can do with the Fool card for Sunday is to, for instance, take the first step in maybe an application process, right? So if you're looking at a new school that you want to apply to, or a study abroad program, or if you want to sign up for a dating profile or something like that, it's just the first step of sending an email, starting a profile, doing the search, for instance. It could also be, starting a conversation with someone to kind of test the waters and see where they stand, if they're interested, if you're friends or whatever. So that's all this is. It's the beginning. It's an opening of a door, maybe a shutting of a door too. Figuratively, in my case, it's literally. So the Fool can be a lot of fun because it's going to shake up the energy. And retrograde, one thing I like to clear up with retrograde is that we're not supposed to sit still, right? The whole reason retrograde is happening is because there are things that need to be resolved. So for some of you, revisionary things like deciding to finish something that you've never had a chance to finish. It's already started. This is your time to finish it. You can get working on that during a retrograde. If there's something that isn't working and you need to resolve that, then if you need to take a course of action to resolve that, absolutely, this is the right time to do that as well. So take necessary actions to create positive movement in your life. You won't regret that. And the Fool is saying, now is the time, now is the place for that as well. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at what's coming through for Monday. So today, again, you're going to open your eyes, you're going to get past the emotions, you're going to take a step tomorrow in the right direction, and then you're going to have a very productive Monday here. We have the Princess or the Page of Pentacles. We see things starting to open up in front of her, opportunities. The cool thing with a page is that it's kind of playing the middle. So you may have a lot of opportunities incoming. You might also be someone that's helping someone else. This role often comes through for people who are administrative assistants, advisors, therapists, teachers, because they are there to kind of help, it's like a whisperer, right? A dog whisperer, but they help you get out of your own way. So you might be the person that's doing that. You might also get some great advice. No matter how you slice it, to have a Page of Pentacles starting off the week, it's a really good card. So I see you getting your stride back and having a very productive beginning of the work week, okay? Definitely decide to dig into something. This isn't a passive day at all. So whether it's saying, I'm going to champion this project, or if it's saying, I want to finish this, or if it's unpacking, whatever it is that you're doing, it'll be productive. It's going to be worth your energy, and the card is upright. So just stay open and stay active, and I think you're going to benefit from the energy of Monday, okay? Tuesday is a more introspective day. It's also a day where you might come up with some great ideas. We always love the Queen of Wands on this channel because she is able to outthink and innovate almost anybody. Always fresh ideas coming through. When she's reversed, however, there is a tendency to focus on a single path or a single method, and that sometimes can shut down this otherwise very open energy of the Queen of Wands. So I would say you have a tried and true way to do something. You are on the right path for success, but there could be a faster, more outlandish, more unusual way to do something on Tuesday. So stay open. This is also the epitome of the boss whenever I see the Queen of Wands. So with the boss card, I would say you're definitely able to be well positioned in leadership. You're going to be able to also help motivate people in your life. But one thing that might be necessary is just to have some sensitivity to their own issues, what's going on with them, and to realize that empathy goes a long way when you are a leader. So remembering, for instance, that maybe someone just had a birthday, or someone just had a loss, or someone just did something massive in their life, lets them know that you're not focusing just on needing something. You're actually also focusing on them as a person, how they feel, what's going on, because When you are a parent, a boss, or a coach of some sort, you also want to make sure that the person's developmental needs are being met, not just their performance needs. So parents that focus solely on grades, teachers that focus solely on comparison between one student and another, or in a workspace where, again, the same sort of comparison is being made, they aren't tuning into what is blocking the development. Is the person happy in this environment? Am I doing everything that I can do to foster that development? So if you have the power position, and you might with the Queen of Wands, focus on meeting the person emotionally and developmentally to make sure that then the motivation can kick in. Because once you're there with them face to face, eye to eye, things can actually start to kick off. And if you're not being seen or heard, then take some time and try to get the attention of that person in power. And I think that's going to be ever so important. Okay? Focusing on the middle of the week. This is the only tricky card really this week, but it is in an advantageous position. So I read reversals. You don't have to read reversals, but it actually takes a card that's tricky like the Devil and makes it better when it's reversed, because this is a revelation day. So when the Devil is reversed, it's basically saying, I see a limit and I'm tired of the limit. This could be the limit that I just talked about, where someone is unwilling or unable to see you because they only see the other person and they're comparing the success or failure of that other person to you. They're not truly seeing your potential, and they're not focusing on the potential. They're focusing on the lack or the failure. So that can be one version of the Devil. Another version of the Devil can be, I'm limiting myself because I don't believe in myself, or I'm afraid of what might happen if I do this. The Devil can also be unavailability, someone that you like or want to have in your life, but they have other obligations or they're partnered. The reversal of this is seeing the limit and deciding, is this a limit that can be managed, or is this actually a limit that I should walk away from? Because this Devil is really nicely illustrated. We see a spider's web underneath there, and people, it's always a lower version of the Lovers. That's basically the Devil. But we see two people who maybe at some point were getting along, but now they're stuck together. Or a person could be stuck in a work experience or living experience that doesn't suit them because of money or contracts or something of that nature. When you have the card reversed, you say, I decide to break the cycle. I'm going to take action to rectify what isn't working. So what are you going to do about it? That was a long conversation to basically say, you know the problem, what are you going to do to fix it? That's all you have to decide. What are you going to do? You don't have to fix it on Wednesday. You just have to start thinking about how, talking about different ways that you can approach this. And if your week is going amazingly well, this is about remembering that you can actually open up to more, because this at its core is just limits. So you might be limiting your potential because of, again, thinking that there's only one way to do or see something. So open up your mind. That's all the Devil sometimes is a closed mind, okay? As we get to Thursday, things get back into a great space. We actually had this card pop up earlier this week. I love the Two of Cups. The Two of Cups is saying, now that you've done this, it's basically taking the lower version of this, which again can be Lover's energy, a little bit of Two of Cups as well. And now it's saying, all right, I respect myself enough to stand my ground. I respect myself enough to walk away from this person, place, or thing. And in doing so, I'm actually becoming more magnetic and more attractive because my energy is higher and people are going to see me as more valuable. Sometimes you have to call your own bluff and leave a situation, and the person will miss you. You can decide if you want to come back, but there could be basically someone retracting something. So let's say on Wednesday, you see the limit and you just tell someone, I appreciate you, I appreciate this, but I can't do this. I need to do something else. And because of X, Y, Z, they may come back on Thursday and say, you know what, you're right. I'm sorry. Let's make this work. You're too valuable for me to see you go. Okay. This could also just be you leave this and there is no coming back, but the next person that you meet won't repeat the cycle. Either way, you win, but you have to be willing to let this go completely. It's not always going to be, wrapped up in a nice bow where they come back. So be prepared to just leave and leave full stop. But know that no matter what happens in the future, it will be better. And what you can also do as we're looking at Thursday, let's say you're not dealing with the Devil energy or the limits of Wednesday. There could just be opportunity knocking, okay? But because it's on the heels of the Devil card, what you want to make sure of is that you negotiate something better Just because you like someone or want to please them, when it comes to the negotiation table, it's business, right? Just because someone's a great friend to you doesn't mean that they can push you too far or kind of like go over the limits where they should. So this is you holding your ground in the face of love, knowing that they love you enough to then respect you even more and think, of course, I'm sorry I said that, or yeah. So love is a reflection, and that's what we see really nicely illustrated in this Two of Cups. People will reflect your integrity, but you have to begin the integrity. You have to be the person that you want to find, be the person that you want to be. Each and every day we take a step more towards that light of integrity and strength, and the change starts to happen. The metamorphosis starts to happen, and better people start to come into your life. May not be immediately, but you're starting the work that begins that reflective energy there, okay? We're kind of getting deep today, but there's a lot going on in my life, so today's reading is going to be a little deeper than usual. All right, as we look at Friday, we have the Hierophant card. Hierophant is about organization. It's also one of the spiritual cards that I look for. When I try to read people's energy, there are a few cards that indicate depth of spirit. You know, High Priestess, Magician, Hierophant, Star. All of those show the ability to connect to source energy. The interesting thing with Hierophant is it is a little rigid and it is a little traditional. But maybe what you're kind of going into on Friday is this feeling like, I just have to do something that I know works. There's nothing wrong with that. I think this is a really good day for you to get organized, map out what the next 2 or 3 weeks is going to look like if you want to. So basically, this is your planning day. This is your day also to do a little bit of meditation. I like that we see the sort of like lotus pose here, relaxing, connecting with the tree behind him, really grounding himself, and the lovely little cow there on the side. Some of you may have a Taurus placement that's coming through as well. But the Hierophant is a spiritual card, and it is about learning about past spiritual methodologies and reading up on like theology. So if you want to geek out a little bit and do something spiritual, this could be as simple as like, you know, going to a temple, a mosque, or church, practicing yoga, reading something spiritual. This is a great day for learning and expansion as well. Okay. So overall, though, it's just saying organization, structure. There could be a gatekeeper. I always look at this card as a potential gatekeeper. You can work around them, though. They seem to me to be open and peaceful. So it's about approaching it without animosity and knowing the structure and using the methods from the previous days and thinking, I'm going to stay open. I hope they can stay open. I'm going to make sure that we focus on shared interests. We're not going to go down certain paths that aren't going to work. And I'm going to begin with this energy of wanting to have a mutually beneficial situation. All of that will then endear you to the Hierophant, and they're going to be open to what you have to say. Let's focus on next weekend. 1 week from today, next Saturday, we have the King of Cups marching into your life. And we actually have like a little representation of Cancer on this because you can see the crab there. But the King of Cups is one of my favorite cards because it shows opening of the heart, movement in your life. Maybe where you were feeling blocked, like I'm holding on to something, or I'm afraid if I do this or this, that something will happen. All of a sudden, the energy just starts to rush through and says, we don't have time for this. You've got to get moving. So the main message next Saturday is that as long as you are in the flow of energy, you're going to start to see yourself able to move forward. It's a great day for creativity. It's a fabulous day for love. You may be connecting with a water sign. If you are a water sign, this indicates you're just going to have a really great day. So a week from today, it feels like all the challenges from the week seem to kind of melt away and cascade away. You'll have a really fabulous day. It could be emotional. There could be a lot that you're dealing with, but it does feel like with the King of Cups upright that you're going to be able to manage that and make something of it. All right, as we focus on next Sunday, we have the Seven of Swords. So this is a card of accountability. Interestingly enough, I see cards that are, I like to think of them as like brother, sister, or cousin. I would say Seven of Swords, Five of Swords, and the Devil, they're in the same family. They all hang out together. The Devil would be the matriarch or patriarch, and these would be the sort of underlings. But the Seven of Swords is basically there to sort of like tempt us sometimes to see if we can get away with things. So as an aspect of your personality, it can be temptation. It can also be overextension, making a promise you can't keep. So the most important thing that you can focus on next Sunday is accountability and honesty and transparency. So if you honestly don't want to go, just say, I'd love to see you, but I'm exhausted. If you have too much on your plate, say, I'd love to help, but if I say that I will, I won't be able to. Or if I'd love to help, but you're going to have to take something off my plate because I'm just overwhelmed. Or simply say, I don't want to, or no. Just put the limit down or state why it's not going to work. It's going to be easier to say than you think. Swords are more in your head than sort of happening around you. So 7 of Swords and 9 of Swords have a lot of fear, have a lot of stuff that's going on, agitation in the crown. So just get it out and make it honest. And I think that's the main thing that you can do, and you'll be fine, okay? It's hard to do, trust me, I know, but you have to speak your truth, and that's gonna free you up, okay? Let me rearrange the cards on the table here, and then we're gonna take a look at blessings and blocks for this week ahead. Okay, so I'm gonna choose a different deck for this. Give me a second here. So for the blessings and blocks, this is going to help us focus on something that can help elevate all of the opportunities in front of us and something that might get in the way of all of that going the way that we want. So let's take a look at the cards and see what they have to say. By the way, welcome to the new members. Good to have you here. Blessing, block. So interesting. This is why I love to use different decks as I go through the spread. We got the same cards. And by the way, they're right under each other. Talk about synchronicity, right? So we're really going to focus on that is uncanny. I don't know why I'm surprised because I work with cards all the time. But like literally they are right under each other. There's no way of planning that. I love it. All right, so this was Saturday, Sunday. This is Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We're going to look at Tuesday and Wednesday. They're actually aligned to the days of the week. I don't know why I get so excited over that stuff, but it's kind of cool because there really is no way that they would kind of come up that way. The interesting thing on this one though is the queen is upright. Otherwise, this is even in the same rotation, but we did get the queen upright. So for the blessing this week, which is coming through, your blessing will be on Tuesday. We can actually locate the time of it. You can do more than you give yourself credit for. We see this kind of diva-like energy, D-E-V-A, where she's got all these different arms, basically like you would see in Eastern illustrations of different deities. So you can multitask. You can get a lot more done than you think. You can basically delegate and participate, because you're going to probably have to roll up your sleeves and do a little bit of both. So the blessing is the ability to be in 2 places at once, to do multiple things at once, and to not get too attached or involved with any one thing. So you really do need to be the boss, because bosses have to have an oversight focus. If you do too much of the sort of in the weeds work, then you're not going to be able to do the oversight. If you're too high up and not connecting with what's going on in the trenches, then you're going to miss something. So it's straddling the 2 different worlds and not letting either world pull you in too much. That's the blessing, and you can do it. So finding that happy medium between saying what needs to be done and then also doing a little bit of that as well. All right? And that's at its core what it is. And you may be asked to be in a couple places at once. You'll do your best. You'll split yourself as best as you can, and you're just not going to be able to do everything for everyone or be everything for everyone. Instead, you're going to empower them to kind of take the mantle and say, yeah, help me out with this, or no, we're not going to do this until tomorrow or next week. So you'll find a way, even without the title or the function of being a boss, to be the boss, okay? And that's on Tuesday because it really aligned with that. And again, so uncanny. We have the devil card here as well. Very similar illustrations even. I'm using different decks, but very similar illustrations for the devil. Both of them wearing masks or having sort of like a animal type head here, which is unique. This is Rachel True's deck, the True Heart Intuitive that I'm using. The other one is Sun and Moon. All right, so for this, the devil card is coming through to remind you that as we're looking at this, it kind of connects with all the past lives. This is your chance to do it differently. The devil wants you to think that you're stuck. So the chains that are holding you down, the fears that the devil uses to kind of hold you in place. But the truth is, as we look at all these souls, your ancestors and your past life experiences are coming through to say, no, we've done this. I know that story. I don't like the ending. Let's try this instead. So you can actually unshackle yourself on Wednesday. You are not blocked, but you have to choose differently, and you may have to make a choice that makes you feel uncomfortable because you're going to have to say or do or act in a way that is going to maybe be bolder than you're used to. But when you speak your truth, the chains are unshackled, they're undone, and that's the moment of freedom. So don't try to do everything for everyone. Empower those around you to help you out. Ask for help if you need to. Delegate as needed. Say no as needed, as we learned with the Seven of Swords. And then choose differently this time. You can and you will succeed if you choose to do that. Okay? So that was exciting. We're definitely in the flow energetically today. That's a beautiful synchronicity that came up in the cards. So thank you, Spirit, for bringing that through. All right, we're going to take a look now at the elements. I'm going to use a different deck for this just to see if some of the same energies come through, because we had such an uncanny synchronicity there. Let me just grab it. Most of my decks are packed, so just pardon me as I grab the first available one that I can find. And the first available is the Wild Unknown, so we like that deck. I'm going to use the Field Tarot for the main one today. So, okay, let's take a look here. So this is the only part of my reading that is specific to the different signs. Everything else is for everyone present, but this part we're going to break down. So let's go ahead and shuffle the cards, take a look, and see what's coming through. All right, so fire, earth, air, and water. We got another King of Cups there. Lots and lots of synchronicities coming through, and it's helping us place it on the week, which is why I wanted to keep pulling different decks. Okay, let's begin with fire. So this is going to be Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. So you actually are able to, most effectively, I would say this week, all the fire signs can take the devil energy and elevate it. Because as you've probably seen in some of my past videos, I will take the devil and the lover's card side by side and show how it's the exact same placement of the people. And instead of a devil, we have an angel. And instead of hell, we have heaven. And it's basically just saying, I can choose a different path. I can elevate this, okay? And there's no chains in the lover's card. So we actually have a different illustration here. We see them liberated. These two beautiful birds flying through the air, the sun brilliantly shining behind them. And it's saying, let's go, let's try this. Freedom is love. Because if you truly unconditionally love someone, it is without bounds, it is without chains, it is without limits. So opening your heart and releasing limits upon yourself and upon others will intensify your attractive energy, your magnetic energy, and your ability to manifest. Things may not immediately show up. The Lover's reverse can say it's coming from a different direction. So you may not have thought that this is where you should be, but it's exactly where you need to be. And even like for me, I did receive some healing as I've been here. So you never know. There's certain things that happen for just the right reason, for just the right time. I want you to look around this week in particular and just see what did this experience bring me? What can I see in this direction? Never let your ability to see love go away. That is when the devil wins. We're not going to let the devil win, not on my channel. So you're going to open up your heart and your mind and think, I'm still capable of receiving what it is that I've set out to see. This may be a temporary sort of bump in the road, but it certainly is not going to hold me back, okay? There could be new love coming into your life for sure. It may be, again, not what you expected, a different type of person at an inconvenient time in a place that you didn't expect to meet them, something unconventional about the connection. It could also be the same for a partnership or anything opening up in your life. There's something unconventional about it, but there's something to like about it as well. you got a good week ahead, Fire. Aries, Leo, and Sag, keep me posted and let me know how it works for you. But stay open and know that of all the signs so far, I think you can overcome whatever might be popping up on Wednesday most effectively. And that's something to look forward to. Let's move now to Earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. All right. This deck, I always have to look really closely. This is the 10 of Wands. It's hard to see. It looks like it could be the 10 of Swords, but the 10 of Swords has an animal on it. All right. So the 10 of Wands in reverse is actually good. I don't know why this person showed so much. I love this deck. I use it all the time, but I would have put much more light on this card. So let's just look at the traditional illustration because it's a brilliant and it's a nice card, but we're going to combine the two because I want to respect the artist's illustration. And I think I can intuit what they were trying to do here. So typically the 10 of Wands shows a person completing something, either going up a hill, down a hill, or finishing a process. The traditional Rider-Waite card, which I'm going to pull in just a second, will show that the person feels pressure, anxiety, or stress a little bit because it's sort of like, how am I going to get to the finish line? But the fact of the matter is you're kind of already at the finish line, right? So here's your 10 of Wands. It's one of the bright cards in tarot. It has a lot of blue. There's like blue and gold cards in the Rider-Waite-Smith tradition. This is one of them, and it has both. So with the 10 of Wands, it's saying just almost there, one more step. And for me, I can totally relate with this because it is moving. So this card is basically saying you may just need to take a reset, like a break, a 1 hour break. Last night, that's what I did. I was like, I got to stop. I just got to get a good night's sleep because I have to do this in the morning. I can't work through the night and drink coffee. I need at least 4 or 5 hours of sleep. So I would say one thing that you need to do this week in order to finish is to just take the necessary breaks. And then we've talked a lot about delegation. This is still within the suit of Wands, so it's definitely connected to our goddess Queen of Wands card here. So do what you can, delegate what you need to, say no when you need to as well. Focus on not overextending yourself, not just energetically, but physically. So like I've hired professional movers for that reason, so that I don't pull a muscle, strain my back, have a slip disc or something of that nature. 10 of Wands is an avoidable injury, but sometimes it can just be overexertion. So definitely be kind to yourself this week. And if you do any job that requires more physical labor, make sure that you're wearing the proper support, that you get a chiropractic adjustment, all that stuff that would keep you healthy. Obviously, I'm not a doctor, but I'm just trying to help you manage your energy to help you out with that. And that's the key thing. The good news with 10 of Wands, you're going to do it. You've actually pretty much done it. Some of this could just be the acceptance, like, oh my gosh, I'm doing this, it's happening, I'm almost there, etc. And then the other piece of that could just simply be, I'm not going to give up because I'm now seconds away from delivery. All right. So it's a great week for Earth as well. You're tracking exactly as you should be. Just a little bit of exhaustion, a little bit of fatigue, and a little bit of a mental reset to help you understand this is manageable. This is doable. This is being done, basically, right? All right, so we like what we see with Earth. One last note with that, there could be movement. It could be a trip. There could be someone long distance that you have to collaborate with. Make sure that you bridge the gap there. It's going to be beneficial, the travel or the telecommuting or whatever it is, and you don't want to lose touch with that person. Okay, so focusing now on air. This is Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Air, you have a pretty good card this week, the Hermit in reverse. So you're starting to rekindle your flame, find your light, find your power, and you're coming out of your shell a little bit. You're thinking, all right, it's safe now. I can do this now. I'm not afraid to sort of be out there. The Hermit in reverse still has hesitation. So there's some part of you that maybe wants to be the perfectionist. This can definitely be a card where you're holding something back, just like you would with the Four of Pentacles, holding on tight to something. Because when we are in that initial, it's kind of like pregnancy, right? Initially, it's between the mother and the child. And the mother is very much containing the energy of development. But there comes a point where the child is ready to be born. And so with all things in our life that we birth, a project, an idea, anything that we want to, even just sort of like a new version of ourselves that we want to explore and present to the world. There comes a point where you have to take the veil off and it has to be born, it has to be delivered. So I feel like there is this Under the surface, energy that wants to come through, it could just be a matter of saying something, revealing something, or letting it go. It's going to be fine. And it really does feel like you've done the necessary work to bring the light, the illumination, and the energy into that. This is another card that I see with spirituality. So the Hermit, the Hierophant, the High Priest, the Magician, they're all super connected to Source, right? Because literally this card is carrying a lamp traditionally, or in this case, the lamp is on the tortoise shell. So all you have to do is pay attention to where the light is pointing you, okay? And you're going to be fine this week. Keep sparking that inspiration. Keep putting energy into things that light you up. And if you do that, you're going to have a great week. Accept invitations. If someone wants to meet you, meet up. Go have dinner. Have a lunch. This card is saying come out of your shell, okay? That's it for the air signs. Let's move on for water. We have Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces next. You showed up as yourself, which is good. We have the King of Cups. The King of Cups was coming through for next Saturday. So in this traditional card here, well, not traditional, this is also kind of unusual, but what we see here is the horse kind of going through the water, which is not something the horses necessarily want to do. So you may be asked to push through something emotionally, but you're going to do so swimmingly. Now we have the Black Swan here. I mentioned when I pulled this earlier this week, kind of the idea of a swan song. This card has a little bit of like death and rebirth energy with it. So a swan song is letting go of something. It's kind of like your best and final stand before you move on, before you cross over to something else that's calling to you. So what I would say with this, the symbolism here is saying finish with integrity, finish with grace, leave in your best energy and your best light, even when someone else can't, won't, or is just unwilling to meet you there. Because you never know when you might run across that person again. You never know how or where this sort of connection may somehow happen again. So what you want to make sure is that also if you don't want to be with someone again, end it well. During my spiritual awakening, there was just a really negative person in my life, and one of the lessons that I learned then was, and I made sort of like a decision in my soul level where I said, I don't want to see this person in any lifetime ever again. So what I want to try to do is to resolve all conflict and all karma and walk away completely. And so, and I did, because my guide showed me. I've talked about this before. The two of us sat in a circle. It was kind of like we were in a classroom, and this person went up and flipped a card, and it was death, and then they walked through the door. And I was like, I really did end the contract with them, didn't I? So you can decide to end contracts with difficult people and say, I'm going to learn, and I don't want to see or repeat this again. That's the future you coming through on this one, because we did get a death and transformation card. So even though it's a King of Cups, this is a swan, and the swan song is connected to death and rebirth. So you can end a contract and end a cycle, and you can do it with this sense of grace. Cancer, you came through especially strong this week, but everybody that's a water sign will benefit from this message, okay? That is the elements. Let's go ahead and quickly take a look at the viewers and the reader's choice for this week. And we'll keep the tradition here of switching the decks. I'm going to use just traditional Rider-Waite-Smith for this one. Let's look at the cards on the table real quick. And let's see here. Okay. I'll try to do my best to bring them into view because we have a lot. I will miss my table as I do. I'm not going to have this next week for the next month. I'll just be working remotely, but it will come back in the future. All right, so let's look at all the cards here and see what the messages are that I want to explore together. So let's start first with some trends that I'm seeing for all of you. Since we got this uncanny energy, well, it was perfectly aligned before here. So these two cards, I definitely want to take a look at this. So I'm going to choose the most difficult cards in the spread, which are the Devil. So I will look at releasing the sort of cycle. So we're going to take that out of the mix here. One thing that I think could be cool for some of you is how to take the first step. So we'll put that as option 1 on the poll, which I'll put out in a moment. I think the other thing could be with the Lover's card, how to recognize we could put like love or opportunity. And I can't fit it into this, but in a different form. So you know what that is when you see it in all forms. And then let's see if there's one more thing that's kind of universal here. We want to open up how to open up resources. Since some of us might be trying to find money, new job, new opportunities, I feel like everyone could benefit from that. And it looks like Monday's a great day for that. All right, so you all have a lot to choose from there. I'm going to focus on everybody's favorite card. I say with a sense of irony here, the devil. We're going to take a look and see what it is that we can do to overcome limits, to basically, as we saw with all these little skulls in the background, how to take the past cycle and stop it and do something different and or quote unquote better. All right, we have the Tower in reverse. I would expect something significant with that card. So the Tower in reverse is saying, I'm not afraid to walk away. I'm not afraid to completely eject this from my life, even if that means doing something radical. Amen to that. So again, just a little insight. I'll do story time later. I might do a vlog on this whole experience because it's been a year. I've been through a lot of change and I don't bring it into all the readings. I kind of like pepper it in. But so this, my own sort of experience with the devil and like what I was seeing. So I've been shown future experiences that would happen if I stayed. I saw a leak from the skylights in the main room. I saw a leak in the other room. I saw this dripping and ruining my computer. And I found out that there were termites here and it all made sense. So for me, the guides came through and showed me that there was a problem. And from that problem, then I was able to have the ability to make some smart decisions so that I could avoid that. But in order to do that, I had to kind of throw myself in a tower situation. But the Tower reverse is saying, I'm going to do this. I'm going to extricate myself and make a change. So you could be in a relationship. Your warning signs could be very different. But you don't even need intuition to be able to see them. You can just see someone doing something that is self-destructive. And you think to yourself, do I really want to be in this relationship where I can see that this is invariably going to lead to an outcome that I don't want to be a part of? Because I don't need to be in that chaotic, destructive energy. So what you do instead is pull yourself out, put yourself into a position where it may be a little bit uneasy or unusual for a while, but it's going to be better than that. And so the Tower reverse is saying, I'm going to make a change. It'll be rapid. It will be better. And it may be a few steps, but it's going to be okay in the long run. So extricate, remove yourself if you need to from something. You'll be all right. It will be all right. Because this is also showing the eventuality of what will happen, which is there's some foundations in some part of your life that already need to be firmed up. So it could be maybe this is a wake-up call for health, maybe this is financial, maybe this is literally like the place that you're living in, because that can be the tower. It can also be some other aspect of your life. But whatever it is, it's manageable. And whatever it is, you have more control than you think. It is just a matter of taking that first step. And the devil reversed, or the devil actually here, just in the upright position, wants you to stay on that path. When we looked at the recommendation in the 7-day forecast, the devil was reversed, which is saying, I don't have to do that. And the Tower being reversed is saying, I'm going to ride with the energy of change and just know that the best will come. It's not even hope for the best. It's going to make the best out of it. So you're not hoping for the best. You're making this the best experience possible by surrendering to the inevitability that change is important and necessary. So think of the thing in your life that you fear the most. Think of the thing where you're the most blocked and know that there is an out. The out may be uncomfortable. It may be a little difficult, but it's worth the energy. It's worth the investment, because otherwise you are signing up to do the same thing. You're not supposed to do the same thing. When I made the decision to move, and I need to finish watching it. I watched half of Sliding Doors, but I watched it when it first came out. I was actually in London when that movie was out. But what's cool about that movie is you get to see like two different paths on this woman's life lifetime on her, like, basically it's sort of like a space-time movie as well. But I felt like I ripped myself out of a timeline when I decided to do this, because I was like, no, I can't do this. I have too much going on and I've been through too much. I'm going to take this path instead. But energetically, it took me a day to adjust because I felt the tower energy when I did it. So, but then I was okay, and then I felt great. And now I'm okay. I just have to pack all the boxes today. But the biggest and hardest part of the tower card is the decision. So some of you may be in the throes of when and how, but once you decide it, once you get through the decision process, it becomes much more manageable and the dust starts to settle. Okay? I hope that helps out. All right, so let's take a look. I gave you plenty of time to vote on a topic. So let's see what you chose for me. We'll give it a chance to finish and then we'll see where it went. All right, so by 43%, how to open up resources. Let's take a look and see. That's a great question. So as we were looking at the energy of Monday, we have the Princess of Pentacles. So let's see how you can really be into that, that energy of creation. And maybe this, like, identifying it, because I want to reread my question. Let's ask the cards exactly. How can the collective energy that's present today open up to resources? So where are the resources? How can they best utilize them? Is there anything that they need to see in respect to them? The Emperor, very interesting. All right, so some of you may actually have someone in your life that's capable of helping you out. The Emperor could be a mentor, a parent, a guardian. There could also be some sort of, there's someone that has a store of resources. So what I would say for you is to tap into existing systems and people that you know. Now, for those of you that might be students that are looking at, like, colleges and universities, this card is definitely attached with financial aid and going into, like, every possible financial aid thing that you can find out there, because there's some that are just sitting and collecting dust. So go for the ones that people would never think of. You have a chance for that. Same thing for getting a loan or whatever. I want you to really be sort of look for the roads less traveled, because this is also to me a card of, like, dusty, old energy. So look at stuff where no one's tapping into that. There could also be someone older in your life or someone more experienced that can help you open up this sort of channel or this resource. The Emperor is a little passive. Even in the upright position, I always have the constructive criticism that you could see more activity if you just kind of get off the throne here. So with you, I would say the important thing is to not sit idly and wait for something. Very active energy, and some people just need you to ask them. Now, if you're asking them, there is a process and there is an expectation of respect. And so thank the person for their time. Maybe stroke their ego a little bit, because a king or a queen likes to be appreciated, and then let them. There might be a string attached. I am going to say that. And you have to make sure you're okay with the string, because they want control. And so one of the important things for you is, if you don't want that, then you're supposed to do this on your own. There is an entrepreneurial energy here. So if you can't find the path, and if you don't like the strings attached, remembering that we saw that earlier in the week, actually that's the message for today, and those strings create interference, then what you're going to focus on is saying, I'll do it myself. It may take longer, but it's worth that energy. Okay? So we're going to move now on to the special topic. Give me a moment to neatly stack up all of these different decks of cards, and then I'm going to focus on time traveling telegram, advice from a future you. Try to say that like 3 times fast. It's a lot of words. All right, give me 1 second here. Get everything set up. I want to say hi to everybody. Apollo. A little bit of love for Mr. Apollo, who joined us in the background with his ears folded over. All right, so here's a late hello from Sleepyhead Apollo. I'm going to put him down. I said I'd bring him up just for a hello. I know, buddy, I'm sorry. He says, Dad, I was sleeping. What are you doing? All right, let's go ahead now and focus on today's special topic. And I already chose the deck that I wanted to use. I actually used this on Friday for Libra, and I loved it. So we're going to use the Field Tarot for today, focusing on how you can make better choices the future you, your future guides coming through and basically saying, hey, here's what to focus on, here's what to avoid. So much love coming through on this one. This is kind of cool. What a powerful spread that we're seeing here, especially with the Star Ancestor and Isis coming through. The ultimate High Priestess there. Okay, let's get this started, everyone. Okay, so we are now in the special topic portion where we're looking at time traveling telegram advice from a future you. The beautiful Star Ancestor card came through, very closely connected, believe it or not, to that Devil card where I said your ancestral patterns and assistance and also your past lives are coming through in a large way to help you out. Follow the voice of your soul. Amen to that. Some of you may, like me, have a past in Egypt, and you also might be just really deeply connecting to just a higher version of yourself, the stars. Not all of us are originally from this planet anyway, so connect way back into the ancient wisdom of why you came to this planet in the first place, what you hope to achieve in all the lifetimes here. This isn't the only place to live in the universe. I think it's really interesting that with all the, like, especially as we look at the Webb telescope that's taking these amazing pictures of all the galaxies, there's so many galaxies and the universe is constantly expanding and there are so many habitable worlds out there. There is no way this is the only place that life exists. So this is a vast, vast universe. Many of us are not from this place, but we came here for a reason. So let's get back to why we came here. I've mentioned in past videos that one of the cool things on this planet is that there's a lot of free will. We get to choose. We have temptations, we have things that are going on, but we always get to choose, should I do this, should I not do this? So this is your star self coming through and saying, use the choice and use it wisely and choose differently this time. All right, so we're gonna look at the choices and we're gonna see how we can adjust it a little bit. If you're feeling a little bit out of sorts, this card comes through to say, look up. Always, I used to say that to my mom when she was alive. I would say, remember to always look up. Like literally, we would do that and look at the moon, look at the stars. But it's also a figurative thing. Always look at the bright side, always look at the optimistic side, always turn your attention towards what's possible, towards the sky, which is limitless. So let go of the limits, see what's possible. Hashtag wow with the two cards in the center, the lovers and the star, like right by each other. So this indicates your highest self. It can also be a high energy partner coming in. This is the card of partnership. This is also the card of being magnetic. And with all the energy around the devil that kept coming through in all the previous spreads, it's nice to see the elevated lovers card finally. So here we go. It's starting off with the lovers, okay? So I think that for you right now, the important thing to know is that you have to love and appreciate and celebrate yourself. That was one of the things that I said with the Two of Cups this week. So love begins within. Looking into the mirror, looking at your life and saying, I may have work to do, but I'm really happy with who I am becoming, with the energy that I'm putting forth. This is a good representation of me. There is no such thing as perfection. We are all always kind of moving towards it. So love where you are, who you are, and where you're headed. And that's going to help you bring in a person that is in that same sort of space where they're not looking for completion with someone. They're not expecting perfection everywhere. They're just expecting people to show up with what? Like the best energy possible, the highest version of themselves. That's all. If you do that, you are the star. You are the lovers each and every day. The future you is saying, not only are you lovable, not only should you experience love and joy in your life, but you have a divine right to feel happiness. The lovers is that, finding great friendship, great partnership, just great energy in general. So spend more time doing that. Less time worrying about deadlines, worrying about work, worrying about competing with others. At the end of the day, to use another movie example, the end of Ghost, basically, Patrick saying, you take the love with you. You take that peace with you. In that movie, there was a good sort of lesson that all the people that were trying to steal for money, you saw all the shadows come and get them. But ultimately, those two lovers had a chance one more time to see each other, because love transcends time and space. It's the love and the lessons that we take with us. We do not take title. We do not take power, not that kind of power. It's basically the power of the heart, the power of the soul that transcend death. So spend more wisely when it comes to who you love, who you're with. Spend more time with the people that you love. Give your dog an extra hug today. Give your partner an extra hug today. Spend some more time with your kid today. Whoever it is that you love the most, invest more there. You'll never regret. If today was the last day on the planet and then you had to walk into the ethers and you looked back, nobody would say, I wish I spent more time in the line at the bank. I wish I spent more time at that meeting. I wish I spent more time on hold. I wish I worried more about what someone said. But they might say, I wish I spent more time with this person. I wish I did more of this. I wish I said that I loved you. I wish I said that I'm sorry. So take all those wishes and make them realities. The real ones, not the kind of ironic or sarcastic ones that I was talking about. So if you have a potential regret, make it into a goal. Say I love you to someone, spend some more time with someone, and then put a limit and say no to someone who's pulling you away from that energy of love. You are being encouraged by your highest self to basically be authentic. The star sign is the star card is nude for a reason. And a lot of these cards are, because not to be salacious, and it's actually done quite tastefully in this deck. But basically it's saying, I am myself. And when we look at like Roman and Greek statues, particularly of the gods, they're always fully nude and if you look at the Adam and Eve, they're nude. It's basically because this is creation. There's nothing to be ashamed of when you're in your highest energy. So the star is saying, take all the masks, all the facades, all of the covers, and remove them. It's not saying be naked, but it is saying be authentic, be yourself. And if people can't handle that truth or that authenticity, then no amount of facade is ever going to make them happy. And you're not going to be happy because you're not really emanating your true self. But the minute you step into the truth of you, that's when you start to have more people knocking at the door than you probably can handle, okay? Figuratively, literally, in work, in school, in life, in love, in friendship. So be more yourself. I definitely would have told that to a younger version of myself. Walk the bolder path much earlier. Say what you need to say, be who you need to be, and people will either take it or leave it. And that's okay. Let it go. Let's look at your deep past. You've done the work on yourself. So we have a Knight of Pentacles saying, many of you had to come through a difficult situation, which is why we see him armored up here. But look what you've proven to yourself and others, that energy of reliability, right? So you can count on you, and others are learning to count on you too because of that consistency. And you're doing it for yourself, not for the love and the accolades from others. So unconditional love means that you don't need to sort of like get an A+ for someone to love you. They love you if you tried and you got a C-. All that mattered is that you did your best. That's unconditional love. And they then, like I said, they try to meet you there and help you to the next level. But for some of us, particularly for me, when it comes to certain levels of math, I'm like, that's about all I'm going to get. I was A+ everywhere else, but when it came to math, B's and C's were fine because that was a hard space for me. But ironically, I love science, physics, and but sometimes when it comes to the equations associated with it, that's why I'm not an astrophysicist. But my parents didn't care. They were cool with what I was doing. They were cool at every stage of the journey, and that was nice. So be yourself, work on yourself, be reliable to yourself and accountable to yourself, and that's going to come across well to other people. And again, the unconditional love, it means as long as you're doing the best you can do and you're working, next lifetime, you're going to be a little bit better at some of these things, but you can just keep moving the needle forward. That's all that matters here. And take the guard down a little bit with the people that love you the most. This particular deck, that's always a message with this card. You don't always have to be so protected. You don't always have to be always like on the fight or flight energy. Let the guards down a little bit and allow your true energy to shine through. This reminds me of an elf, the way this is illustrated. It looks like something from like Lord of the Rings. All right, so we have the King of Wands here, like Elrond or something. Well, or Gandalf. So anyway, or I guess this is more like The Hobbit, but I didn't really watch it. But it's one of the ones from The Hobbits because those movies were kind of unwatchable. Anyway, King of Wands, sidebar notwithstanding here. What I like about the King of Wands is it is the ultimate leader when we're looking at all the different boss cards in tarot. And it really is about innovation and kind of like breaking the glass ceiling. So if you feel stuck in any space in your life or you are frustrated with anything, remember that sometimes it's lonely at the front of the line. And so you may feel like nobody gets you, nobody understands you. That's their loss and you're going to be okay. It's just, I see you're kind of stepping into the energy of innovation, okay? So enjoy that. Try to enjoy that. Try to just embrace that being different is really, it can be really cool. It can be really engaging. Let me see if there's anything else here. No, I think that's it. I think it is just being comfortable with not getting immediate praise. And that is not easy, right? We have been trained by society, even here, like with all this interaction going on, to get thumbs up, to get likes, to get, positivity. Sometimes when you're doing something important, it might be the reverse. But later, I'll give you an example, actually. The iPhone, when it first came out, people like some of the other companies that were making things, they're like, a phone will never work if there's not a keyboard attached to it, right? So, then with both Androids and iPhones, the cameras, I remember initially thinking, we were used to carrying, I'm talking through a camera right now, like a traditional DSLR, but we used to carry those around, right? And then we actually had like the pocket ones too. And I thought, why would you ever want like a camera on your phone? Who wants to have pictures on your phone nowadays? We not only have the camera, but we have email, we have applications, we have games, we have dating apps, we have GPS. So innovation takes people by surprise. What is at one point like ridiculous then becomes fashion and norm. And now it's ubiquitous. So you're just a little ahead of yourself or ahead of other people. So don't lose track with what you're being guided to do. All right. In the crowning position, we have 7 of Pentacles. I often like to remind people that the 7 of Pentacles and the 7 of Swords, they are distant cousins. Let me explain. So the lesson of the 7 of Pentacles is patience, and not just patience, but also diligence and not overextending oneself. Healing takes time, growth takes time. I'm going to pull the traditional 7 of Pentacles. But sometimes we just want it now. And so with the 7 of Pentacles, we're reminded that we have to wait a little bit, that it's okay for things to not be immediately there. By the time you get to the 9, you have that lovely snail at the bottom and you've learned the lesson. But right there, look at him. He's forlorn. He's like, Why don't I have all the abundance of the Nine of Pentacles where all the grapes are growing? Why isn't it as like black and white as the Eight of Pentacles where I can see everything in front of me? Because patience, faith, and application of lessons are necessary. So what you want to do with the Seven of Pentacles in reverse, we want to turn it upright and focus on what's possible. So these are colored associated, like they're associated with the chakras. So when it's reversed, you're basically putting emphasis on power and control and kind of like the wrong things. We really want to be focusing instead on elevating it, using your heart, your communication, your vision, using this visionary card here to say, it's going to take time, but I'll figure a way. I'm going to make this work. And some of that may be just patience. Some of it might be outreach, but I don't have to do it all on myself. And I'm not going to promise more than I can deliver, because then I go from Seven of Pentacles to the Seven of Swords. Or you can go from a place of wealth to debt. And that's the only thing that can happen with the Seven of Pentacles, and we want to avoid that, okay? But the good news is you are growing. You are expanding, and we still see like beautiful like leaves and vines on this card as well. So let's focus on patience, diligence, and saying no when it's appropriate. Lots of synchronicities with the different decks that I'm using in the reflective energy in the cups. So we got the Ace of Cups here. We've gotten the Lovers, we've gotten the Two of Cups, we've gotten the Ace of Cups. So the Ace of Cups here in reverse is saying future you wants you to come in and put yourself on an even sort of platform with others. This is you putting yourself second. This is you allowing other people to dictate or define what happiness looks like for you. And the future you, your future telegram is coming through, and it's saying, don't do this anymore. Allow yourself to be equal. You always are. Even if, like, so there might be a position of power at a job, for instance, your boss, or there may be an age difference between you and your brother or sister or friend. But these things are constructs. Time and experience, they are constructs. On a soul level, you may be a lot more even, a lot more balanced than you're giving yourself credit for. So don't put yourself second. Don't sacrifice happiness. Don't give up the ability to experience love for fear of being hurt. And don't feel bad about your emotions, whether they're very, very good, or if you're in a sort of triggered state where you're feeling depression or anxiety or sadness or any of those things. They are there to teach. They are there to ultimately to elevate. So talk to somebody. Standard disclaimers apply whenever I'm talking about any of this, but obviously if you're going through a difficult time, you want to talk to a doctor, you want to talk to a therapist. But I think all emotions are valid and they're teaching us things. So don't push them under the rug. And it's also saying love is coming to you if you want it. For sure, when we're looking at these two cards right by each other, the Two of Cups, the Lovers, and the Star that was touching all of this is showing me elevated love. So some of you have been taught to put the guards up. You've been trying to show everyone, yourself included, that you can be the boss. And you're afraid to put yourself out there because you don't want to, again, rely too much on someone else. But I definitely see love and partnership coming through. It came through here as well. And this is for some of you, there's a really deep partnership coming through. We got two stars, right? Let's look at this upright. Look at these together. So we got the star ancestor and the star. So when you find and embrace your sort of true self, then someone else comes through. And these are the lovers, basically, right? Kind of makes me misty. They're beautiful lovers too. Two stars. We very rarely get two star cards. You have to pull from different decks to get that. So I like that. It doesn't have to be a lover. This could be a great friend coming into your life. This could be you reconnecting with someone. It could be like my dog Apollo. It could be a pet, any of those things. But I definitely get this really nice deep connection that wants to come through. It's kind of waiting for you. Are you ready? And some of you are so guarded that it will be hard for that person to recognize you. You've got to take the helm off. Let them see you. All right. You are manifesting. This is the biggest message from the future you. The magician creates what it sees, creates what it believes. And It's believing is seeing, knowing is creating. It's not evidential. It's not based on what's already there. It is a creative force. So you are actively, in this moment, creating the future path. You see it and then be it. That's your bumper sticker mantra for today and for this week. See it, then be it. And then continue to focus on what's possible. You could see this as either the rising sun or possibly Jupiter, but it's all about expansive energy, and that's what you really want to focus on in this moment. If you use restrictive energy, then you're closing paths before they even open, and you don't want that to happen. This is also a very charismatic card. Both of these are. Because the star, what does a sun do? What does a star do? It organizes things around it. What does the magician do? It conjures things into creation. So these two are creative and organizational forces. They're very compatible. Also you actually have a lot of love energy around you, and they're all heightened. You don't have any lower cards here. You have a King of Wands, you have a Magician, you have a Queen of Swords, you have a Star Ancestor. These are all high energy cards around you. So you have a good team in spirit. I will say that as well. I like who's surrounding you. I like who's coming through for you today. So this is what it's all about, folks. When I look at the environment, we see a delay, but an eventual connection happening for you. So the Four of Wands is holding space for someone or something to meet you and to celebrate you and to help you manifest a partnership, a divine partnership. It's reversed, which means that the timing of this is still being written by you, actually. It's already there, but the person or the opportunity is waiting on your belief and waiting on your internal work that you're doing. So that's why we kept getting the Devil card today. It's limits of imagination. It's also habits in your life. I didn't even hit on that earlier. So if there's something that you're doing that is sort of like not constructive or even like self-destructive, this is a time to really release that and say, no more. I'm done with that, and I'm going to focus on this instead. Okay? But I have to say that for those of you that might be looking to meet someone or create some sort of an opportunity where people or opportunities can come in your life, it's definitely coming through. Lovers, Star and Four of Wands and Ace of Cups, my friends, that is love. So there's definitely, and it's partnership and it's magnetic energy. So is the Magician. This is a really powerful spread today. So I feel like you're on the precipice of manifestation. You just have to keep focusing because the Magician can't get distracted, okay? As we look at hopes, fears, and opportunities, this is also very, very important. And this is what's setting the sort of like the energetic speed and velocity with which things can happen. So we have the Seven of Cups. Notice how they're all in different directions here. I'm going to pull the traditional card so you can see it as well from Rider-Waite-Smith, but this is the Daydreamer card. This is the card of choices, but what happens sometimes is it can be the card of confusion. One of my lessons that I've always remembered when you're reading cards, you just have to kind of ask a good question and accept what the cards show you. You don't keep pulling or you get confused. So the first idea, the first intuition, the first card that you pull. I have a rule, even if the cards keep repeating, like for the daily cards, there's only so many cards in a tarot deck, 68 or whatever. So at a certain point, you're going to go through all of them. And if you get the same one twice in a row, that's what it is. And there's a different message for it, but you don't keep pulling and hoping for a different outcome. So what you have to do is decide what matters today, what's the focus today, and what can I do the most with today? So we have the Seven of Cups here. This illustration helps you understand it more. The person is standing in front of options, and they have to think, which one calls to me? And sometimes you look at the same options every day. It's like a menu, and you're like, or a refrigerator, you open it up and you think, I don't know what to do. You can mix the ingredients differently. The same 4 or 5 ingredients can be mixed and make a much different outcome. So what I'm getting from my guides is be more inventive, add a little spice, do something slightly different because it doesn't have to be the same old, same old. I'm not enough of a chef to be able to give a cool analogy here, but there are a lot of foods that are made, like even if we think of baked goods, for instance, there are basic ingredients. It's usually eggs, flour, milk, butter. Like there's some core things that make it. Then it's what you put on top of that change it up a little bit. But most pastries and bread, they have those things, maybe a little bit of baking soda and stuff like that. But there's core ingredients, I would say less than 7, that make up most baked goods and most pastries and desserts. But then it's like, did you add honey? Did you add raisins? Did you add cinnamon? You put other things in that change the flavor of it. But at its core, things are simple, and you can make something special or spectacular by putting your own unique take on it. Rearrange it in a way that no one else has, and have fun with that. That's where the power is. Music is the same way. There's only so many chords. It's the arrangement of the chords. It's the production of the music. It's the vocalization that's laid on top of it that make it different. Because again, there are only so many combinations with what we know right now. So it's what you do with it that will make it special. You have to choose something. That's the other thing. You can't constantly research. You have to take a path, take a stand on something. And when we looked at this, that you can see this person kind of standing there. They have to take one of these cups and move forward. All right, now we have the action card here, the Queen of Swords. She's going to use her voice. She's going to take action. She's going to lead the charge, and she's unapologetic in doing that. Queen of Swords upright is actually quite strong because she's not overwhelming. She's not afraid, and she is very relatable, actually. So use your words and make sure that your words match your actions. So walking the walk and talking the talk are the most important things. Don't say, again, this is back to the 7 of Swords, which is kind of like a phantom card in all of this, but only say what you can do. Don't promise something that is not within your desire or within your capacity. All right, we're going to expand the forecast and look in each of these spaces, health, wealth, love, and destiny, at things that your future you wants you to know. Okay, we're going to focus first on your health card. And with health, I always like to disclaim that, again, I am here to help you understand energy, understand patterns. But if there's anything going on in mental or physical health, obviously work with a doctor for that. Focusing on the energy of this moment, and again, the future you, there has been a under-emphasis on joy and happiness. The card itself says joy and contentment. The card reversed is saying, again, what we saw with the love card here, the 2 of Cups. Many of you have said, I am not as important as someone else, or I can only be loved if I do X, Y, or Z. And this card is saying, nah, you're good. Be yourself and let others meet you. Stop trying to please. It's not worth it in the long run. And if you allow yourself to be happy too, sometimes I know it sounds kind of like almost too easy to be true, but maybe you're feeling guilty because your life is good and other people are going through struggle. You worked hard to be happy. You can be happy. It's how you can be there for other people that can change that. You don't have to brag about it, but you also don't have to deny it. So if you've achieved happiness, good for you. If you're going through a period where you're putting all your energy into other people, consider spending more time and energy on yourself. And if you are wondering, like, is it possible? Yeah, it's a divine right for you to have happiness and contentment. So work towards creating more of that in your life. It's all balance. It can't all be about the other person. Looking at the cards solely for just general advice with mind and body, here's what I'm picking up on. All right, let's see here. It's actually a pretty good spread. I would say one thing that's difficult is cognitive focus. So we're looking at hopes, fears, and opportunities. Some of you could be focusing too much on, fears or anxieties. There could also be a lack of concentration, in which case you may actually need to talk to an expert and say, how do I get through this? What would you do to fix this? What do you think about it? Because that's one thing that I see here is just lack of confidence, maybe distraction, maybe confusion setting in. So that's one thing. 7 of Pentacles can be under or overdoing it when it comes to like eating or nourishment or energy in general. So you could be working too hard or something of that nature. So focus on cognitive focus and balancing your resources. Those are the two biggest things. And then, of course, emotional sensitivity. So if you are going through a difficult time, lean on someone that feels right for you, whether that's a friend or a professional. Those are the main things. It's actually quite manageable for health. The main thing is just choosing the path that is going to make you happy. This is especially true for my younger viewers out there, those that might be in college, for instance, making sure that you choose a path ultimately that is going to be happy for you. And then for my older viewers, those of you that might be in retirement years and you're like, you know what, my family thinks I'm crazy, but I want to do this. Do it. If not now, then when? Never put yourself second and never do things just to please your family. That card is true at any age and at any walk of your life. As we move along to wealth here, we have the importance of listening. We have one of the best communication cards here, the Queen of Swords, but a strong communicator begins with listening, and it begins to listening to what customers, people, society, constituents, whatever, listening to what people are saying and using those as a best practice. Let's look at the cards in particular when it comes to wealth or career. So some of you are wondering, how much longer? Is this it? We see the choices card here, so you're exploring your options. Part of the reason this is happening is there could be an undervaluing of your time and energy. I definitely see that with some of you are like a rising star, or you're in a place where there's too many stars. There's too many, and I know that there's no such thing in our actual sky, but sometimes in a company or even a family, there's like one person that wants to take center stage. So some of you want to get out of a situation because this person has a hard time letting you shine too. And I support that. If you have someone in there that won't let you shine, go to a place where, you know, I would use this metaphor, say there's room for a lot of stars in the sky. So there's no reason. I think this is true of everything. Musicians would agree, YouTubers would agree. Everybody has a different flavor. You know, bring it on. Let's have more. Let's have options. Who doesn't want options? So if someone doesn't want that sort of like ability for more people to be out there, it usually is about their own fear. And I think that speaks more to them than it does to you. Happiness is so important. It came through in health, but it really touches wealth. So listen to what your heart is saying for you to do. Was that a Roxette song? Listen to your heart. Yeah, so listen to your heart, and it's not going to lead you astray. It was either Roxette or Heart. Both of them sound a little similar in that. But yeah, listen to your heart and allow for yourself to kind of go down the path that feels best to you. You have a lot of support, networking out there. For some of you that are like mid-career or later career, I see the Four of Wands here. So that tells me you've put a lot of investment in the bank when it comes to relationships and people that trust you. And I think that's so amazing. So don't be afraid to tap into that. You might have helped or mentored other people along the way. This is your time to say, hey, I could use some help now, or I could use some advice, or, you know, do you still have that job waiting for me because I'm ready? There's a space that's being held for you. So all you have to do is kind of open up to that. All right. Let me see if there's anything else. The last one is just we have a lot of cards here of independence here. So the star card shows me that you have a quality that would bring people into your energy. Literally the caption on this one is leadership for the King of Wands and independence for the Queen of Swords. So all three of these are very entrepreneurial. I think that's, it's definitely giving a nod in the direction of going out on your own if you want to. Okay. And yes, we have a lot of leadership cards here. So for some of you, that's why you have to go to a place where there's more room for you to grow. Okay. That is it for wealth. Let's move on to love. So basically we have the High Priestess here and we have the Magician here. So we have, in addition to that, we have two stars. There's really high energy when it comes to partnerships, not just the two stars, but the Lover here. And then again, we have this King of Wands and Queen of Swords. I really like what I see with respect to relationships this month. So it says, your dreams, your visions and goals are becoming a reality. Stay focused. That's why I was so keen on this, because this card shows a lack of focus. Isis, or the High Priestess, is coming through and saying, please stay focused. You can't afford not to right now, okay? Thank you so much for the stickers, by the way. I will say thank you name by name at the end. All right, we're going to take this and break it down into 3 different places. Those that are in a relationship, looking for a relationship, or happily single. If you're in a relationship right now, it's going okay for the most part, because we have the Lovers at the center. What I see with one partner is that there could be a lot going on. So the Ace of Cups in reverse, there could be stress over money, for sure, with the Seven of Pentacles. There could be some health issues. It's taking a while to recover. There could also be just some issues with kind of working on self-confidence as well. But all of that being said, you guys are evenly matched. So remember that you can help them see what's possible. You can help elevate the energy. You can hold some space for them and just say, I'm here to listen. I'm here to talk. What do you need? So holding that space is actually the most important thing. And reminding the partner that you two are co-creating together, that they're not alone, and that you believe in their capacity to work through this. Not pushing under the rug that it's difficult. Say, I'm so sorry you have to go through this. Sometimes that's all you need to say. Like when I was hanging out with some friends last night at dinner, that's all they said. They're like, I'm sorry, you've been through a year. I'm like, yeah, I have. But they didn't try to fix my problem, and I didn't need that. I'm working to solve it. And they didn't actually even offer up solutions. It was just hanging out, listening, asking what was going on. You know how valuable that is, just to be heard, just to have space. So that's all you have to do for your partner, for the person that you love in your life. Just listen and ask them, well, what do you want to do? Or what are you planning to do? And let them talk themselves through the situation, because they can figure it out. They just need someone there to listen, to basically allow them to step into their power. That's my advice for your partner. Empower them, support them, hold space for them, and then ask them what you can do for them. Don't try to control them. That's where it'll go astray. But communication and support, that's going to be the best thing possible. There's a little bit of confusion going on too, but that's something you can work through. Now, your partner may also be wondering what you want. And I joke about this. Yes, I'm intuitive, but if I have to break out a deck of cards to figure out what my partner's thinking, there's a breakdown in communication. We're always going to talk before I go to the tarot cards, especially when I'm having lunch with people. It's not like the cards are with me all the time and we're constantly reading. There's a time and a space for that. But in a real life relationship, you shouldn't have to go there. You should be tuned into each other, talking in real time, expressing things in real time. When the cards come out, there's already a breakdown. So talk and just ask. Just say, hey, I'm not clear on this, or what's going on here, or I feel like something's going on. What should we talk about? Like, just bring it out into the open, and I think that's going to be important to just making things better. All right. Let me see if there's anything else. I think that's the main thing that I want to focus on for those in a current relationship. All right. For those of you that are looking for love, it's a great month. It's a great month to manifest love, because again, looking at the star ancestor and the star, looking at the King of Wands and the Queen of Swords, looking at the Magician and the High Priestess, we have partnerships across the table, don't we? And all of these are basically saying you have some options. You actually have maybe 3 different partners coming through. The star ones would be the soul karmic partnerships from the past, deep, deep past. This is a little bit more recent, the King of Wands and the Queen of Swords. And this is something that may not even exist yet. This could be the first time around, the Magician and the High Priestess. So you have 3 options. You have a deep, deep, deep partnership for someone that you've had many, many lives with. You have another one where, again, it's a little newer, but there's a little bit of history. And you could also just create something fresh. So what are you looking for? That's the big question this month for everybody, is what is it? You can see choices at the bottom. The more clear you are, the more the universe can step in and say, okay, so you want more of this. Well, here you go. It'll happen faster now. Otherwise, you're going to have choices and you'll have to make decisions. But yeah, you can achieve it this month. I feel like the person's waiting for you to decide so they know when to show up and how to show up. And you're creating that right now. Okay? So Right now, the one type that I can see here is an air sign that's very clear, maybe within the next 6 to 8 weeks here, because it's right on the heels of the Seven of Cups. But there are others that are in the wait here. And maybe this can also, we could just push them all together, and it could be a really deep partnership with a little bit of karma from a past lifetime. And this lifetime, you're going to choose a different path. We could still take the 3 levels of the stars and the high priestess and the magician, and then this. I will say this person that you're pulling in, you have a deep connection to, and you probably can't hide parts of yourself as much as you might want to. So vulnerability is probably one of the lessons that's going to come through this time around. Okay? All right. Finally here, for those that are single and happy, wow, you can do almost anything you kind of want to this month, because your power card, the self card, the soul card is the magician. And then we see your ability. You're still going to be working with a lot of people this month, without a doubt. Multiple people coming in and out. This is kind of like a revolving door here, but they're all elevated. We didn't get the devil. We didn't get the tower. We didn't get the 10 of swords. We didn't get anything negative here. So all you can basically do is just be discerning and decide, this is the best choice in front of me. It's kind of like when you go into an ice cream shop and there's way too many flavors and you can't decide. You got to make a choice. So that's the most important thing, is to be discerning. And guess what? You may be surprised. Someone may come in and want to connect with you, because these are love cards. I mean, the Lovers, the Ace of Cups, the Star card. There's someone that's very attracted to who you are and what you're doing. At the very least, if you're looking for like an agent or someone to represent you, they are impressed. And so you could have that kind of energy as well coming in. It's a good month to be any of these things, coupled or looking or single and happy. All right? This is always my favorite time of year anyway, as we kind of get into September and October. Especially, we're going to do, as always, it's usually my most popular video and the most fun for me, but we'll be doing something on October 31st and November 1st. I love to do Halloween and Day of the Dead, because the veil is very thin and it gives us a chance to really connect and see things that we normally wouldn't. But that's kind of why I like this time of the year, and also the change of the seasons. There's just that energy of movement that's more apparent now than ever. So I think it's not accidental that we see all of this really cool stuff happening as summer goes into fall, or for the other hemisphere, I guess is, what would it be, as winter goes into spring. So there's this cool shift that's happening for many of us, and I'm excited to see what it kind of brings about. All right, speaking of which, nice segue, here's your destiny card. The card is reversed, so it's basically like this high priestess here, but it's saying, thank you, heaven, for sending me reminders of your presence. Many people like myself, you receive messages in dreams. You can get better. One of the most frequently asked questions that I see is, how can I remember my dreams? Set an intention before you go to bed to receive messages and to remember them. And then if you get up, even if it's inconvenient, grab your phone and do a voice memo at the very least. Or sometimes your voice won't work that early in the morning, or just tap it out or scribble it down. When I record a dream, I don't write everything. I might be like, let's say I'm seeing an animal totem or something. I might see something like, I just say like butterfly, forest, rainbow, or something like that. And I'll be like, oh yeah, I was walking through the forest under a rainbow and a butterfly landed on my nose, or something like that. I just need the key words that will take me back to the vision. You don't have to write everything. So just write like a list of 4 or 5 words. It will trigger your memory, and usually I can go back completely in the dream and see most of what you can usually have about 70%, 50 to 70% recollection, but a lot of the other stuff didn't matter. I just try to remember the main thing. How did I feel? What did I see? What was the symbol? What was the totem? And that's enough for me to extrapolate what spirit wanted me to have, like the tarot card. I don't need to see every detail, just the high points. And that will help you. Many of you might be opening up to being more attuned to your dreams. The other thing, signs are everywhere. It could be a feather on the road. It could be a song on the radio. It could be a phrase that a loved one used to use. When you hear this and you're out, stop and think, what am I supposed to be paying attention to? That is very significant to me. How can I use that to make the most of this moment in time? Okay? So we're going to pull the final card here for the big idea. And this, for many of you, is going to be the one thing that Spirit really wants you to focus on. The future version of yourself really wants you to focus on, although we've had a really great kind of like connection of messages here about manifestation. So let's see, what is the one thing you can do to really embrace opportunities, to really make the magic happen? Let's take a look. No fear, release the fear. So we've got the Nine of Swords in reverse. How interesting is this? So many synchronicities today. Both of these cards are reversed. Look at what's going on in both of these. We're not going to go to sleep at night with a fearful thought. We're going to go to sleep at night with the feeling that I've got this. In fact, even if I'm afraid that this won't work out, show me in dreams how I can solve this. Or I'm just going to let it go and allow for tomorrow to be a reset. Because I could fear an unknown outcome, or I could just do everything that I can in my power to make sure that I'm ready for whatever comes my way. So you're going to release fear to the universe, and you're going to ask for a clear path. Show me the clearest path. Help me really go forward in the highest energy possible. I think this is the only Nine of Swords where I see someone unbothered by the 9 swords above it. Usually it's a pretty stressful illustration. Let me see if I can pull it really quickly. So what you're going to say to yourself is, I'm not afraid. One thing that helps me is when I've basically made a decision to the point that I'm not going to be budged. Like, this is my ground. This is where I'm standing. I'm just telling you what's happening. You can disagree if you want to, but I'm not going to feel like this character here. I'm going to feel like this one here. I'm putting that to rest. You can do whatever you want. That's your reaction and your projection. I'm not going to sit here and worry about all this stuff and how I feel. It's done. This is me. This is how we're going to go. All right? So that's a really good message. No more fear. Live your life unafraid. Live your life authentically. Reconnect to the lost parts of yourself that you were afraid to show. Hold space for something and know that just because you can't see it doesn't mean that it's not coming to you. Love yourself enough to know that your happiness is just as important as other people. The reason we come on this planet is to learn, but also to learn to love ourselves and to learn the importance of joy and happiness. Because joy is one of the divine energies. It's a currency of God. So love, joy, kindness, compassion, understanding, unconditional love, all of those things connect to the divine energies. You're more powerful than you ever give yourself credit for. Always look towards that rising sun and what's possible. And pay attention to the synchronicities. We got a lot of them in the cards today. Like, sometimes they're just on the nose where I pulled 2 cards identical right under each other. But sometimes in real life, it's a little more subtle. Listen to it so that you don't have that feeling that, later, I wish I would have, I could have. We have one more part to the reading that's coming. Before I get to that, please subscribe so that you don't miss out on any of my future videos, especially since my schedule will be a little erratic over the next week. Follow me on social media as well. Thank you to everybody that's subscribed and also become a super chat, super sticker, or member of the channel. Like, I appreciate anyone that's given back in those ways. A reminder, by the way, that that's the only way to really officially give back. If anyone direct message you on any social media platform, know that that is not me. Okay, so we're going to get ready for meditation, and then we're going to follow that up with a final card. I'm sure you have one question for me that I haven't answered yet. Write it down. Hold that to the side, and I'll look at it in just a moment. First things first, we're going to focus on this star ancestor card. I want you to imagine that you are, we're going to meditate now. So close your eyes, take a deep breath, relax, get yourself in a space where you can listen to me. And imagine that you're looking up at the starry sky. It looks something like this card in ancient Egypt, perhaps. You're out in the desert by the pyramids, staring at the limitless sky above you. And as you stare into the sky, you realize that it's almost as if you start to feel this sense of inertia, where the stars start to come down towards you and you start to move up towards them. And there's something magical, especially about those pyramids and in that particular placement, that allows you to travel a little bit. So Feel your connection to the ground. Maybe imagine that you've laid out a hammock or something on the ground and you're connected to that. But as you stare up at the sky, imagine that you can start to travel through on a spiritual plane and go outward towards like the belt of Orion, which is really important in Egypt. And from this distance, from this vista in the sky, I want you to look back, look around you, look at the vastness of the cosmos. Realize how amazing it is that you're a part of this, and also sometimes how small our world is in comparison to the bigness, the vastness of this universe, which I don't think we think about so often. So make the most of this moment, because it is brief, it is fleeting, but it's also powerful. You were given this. It's a gift. Only from the distance can you see what a gift now is. So don't waste a single moment on regret. Don't give one more piece of energy to sadness. Don't let one more person get under your skin. It is not worth it, folks. What is important is that you get back into your power. You are a resplendent star being. You have been here before. You will be here again. You will live after this earthly body is no longer functioning. Whatever your block is, trust me, it may feel overwhelming, but it is not going to stop you. Feel your power as I play the singing bowl and just relax. To feel as light as a feather. See a single ray of sunshine, or starlight in this case, shining all the way from your present location in the ethers to planet Earth. Allow your body to reconnect with its energy, allow the energy to travel through that starlight, and allow that to come through the heart chakra. In your heart, I want you to carry with you the experience and the knowledge of that depth of character, the connection to the higher self, the connection to your higher purpose. Breathe deeply. Exhale, let go of doubt, fear, or anxiety. Take your hands together. Create warmth and energy. Place your hands on your heart and seal in the intention that you are going to create. You are a co-creator with the divine. You are creating abundance in your life. You're ready to receive all of that abundance in the highest forms. And you are awake, aware, and perceptive of all the synchronicities that are availing themselves to you. Open your eyes when you're ready. And let's focus now on the final card. At this point, I'd like you to think about any question that you have that I haven't had a chance to answer so far. and let's see what's going on. Okay, we've got the Eight of Pentacles. And this is a very unique illustration for the Eight of Pentacles. We see many moons on this card, so it's pretty much just one lunar cycle. Many of you are maybe a month away from completing a current energetic cycle, manifesting something that you're trying to bring into fruition. There's going to be a lot more clarity in 1 to 2 months from now in particular. And the work that you're putting forth in this period of time is it's so essential to the next phase of the journey. So this card is almost encouraging you to double down and really make sure that you complete what you started. The traditional Eight of Pentacles carries with it a little bit more energy of work. It almost looks like a card that you would associate with a producer or putting something in a production assembly line. If I were to compare the three and the Eight of Pentacles, Eight of Pentacles is about editing, perfecting, refining, learning. And I'm just pulling the card for comparison here. So the traditional card shows someone putting those finishing touches on. You're not afraid to go back to the drawing board or to improve something. So something's very close to completion, but there's a little bit more work. Here it's represented by the moons, and here it's represented by the person taking one of those coins and making it perfect. So I see you accomplishing exactly what you set out to do. I think there's a little bit more work to be done. It could be as little as a week. It could be as much as a month or two, but it's within reach. Again, 1 month is looking very reasonable here, but up to 2, because the 8 can also be like 8 weeks. But this card is also about knowledge expansion, training, learning, and experiencing things. And all of these things are good energies to associate with in this moment in time. It's a yes for a yes, no, but it's yes, comma, but do the work. There's definitely work associated with it. It's not going to just come to you. There's a lot of rolling up your sleeves and getting the work done. Okay? Really nothing negative other than focusing on being open to change, being open to revision, because revision is definitely a part of the Eight of Pentacles. And not giving up until something is finished, seeing something absolutely to its fruition, to its completion. All right, with all of that being said, we are now at the close of this. So I would just like to say again, if you can subscribe, please do that. I'm trying to reach some more milestones, and I always do something special as we get further along with the subscriber count. Join me on social media as well. I always put my one card readings across all platforms, so you can catch that, and I'll put any schedule reminders as appropriate there as well. Thank you in advance for everybody that is giving back with stickers. I'm going to say thank you right now, actually. So first and foremost, thanks to everybody who's been with me along this journey for the past few years. Thank you to the new folks. I hope you enjoyed today. I thought that a couple weekends ago was the most powerful, but this was the most powerful reading of the year. One of the most powerful collectives ever, probably. Next to one of my, maybe my Halloween ones. They tend to be really strong. But one thing that I found for myself is a lot of times when I'm in the throes of change, which I am right now, I'm even more tapped in because I have to really be paying attention to what's going on. And there's so much going on. I was questioning whether I should do today's reading, but I'm glad I did. I'm glad we had this moment because it definitely helps center me. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Give me a second here. I'm just going to say thanks to everybody that was a part of today's reading and gave back with the super stickers. We're going to start first with members, however. So I'm going to, anybody that's brand new, I'm going to just acknowledge that. So Tammy TJ Moore, thank you so much. Brand new member there. Space Cat Moonbeam, that's a creative name. Thank you for joining, brand new member as well. Nicola, thank you very much rejoining after 1 month. I appreciate that. And I think those are the new ones for today. I saw we had a couple of folks that might have highlighted their comments, like Jeannie Blenier. I don't always get to see those until the end, but thank you to those that have highlighted their comments as well. Sheena as well. I'm just kind of scrolling up to see if I can see any of those highlighted comments. Other than that, I'm going to say thank you to those that gave back with super stickers. So give me 1 moment to get that. Okay, so here we go with super stickers and super chat. Again, this is optional, but it does help me do more videos, and I do appreciate that. All right, so kicking things off today, I'd like to say thank you to Liz Morrison. Here is to the future. I agree. Amen to that. Kimberly Eshman, thank you so much. Fistian, thank you as well. Mermaid Crystal. Esmeralda, thank you. Let's see, Michelle Buckoff, Sonette LaRue, Melissa Russell, Jeannie Hart, Jamila X, Collar Me Happy, April Rain. April, thank you for the 50. I appreciate that. Serena Rocky, Andrew Mora, Eileen as well. Thank you for the 50. Sheena Davis, April Rain again. Thank you for the multiple today. I appreciate that. Yvette Sanchez, Abe Benya, Cynthia Pride, Josie Lett, I think it is, sorry. Dawn Schwab, Kathy Ahern, and Cece Panda Bear. Let me see if I missed anyone. I think I got most of you. Ali Rogers as well. Thank you. Thanks everyone today for a very special reading. I will try my best to get the one card readings for tomorrow and Monday, even though I'm moving. The times may be a little bit different, so give me some leeway since I'm going to be packing. But otherwise, we should be back doing the same thing on Tuesday as I go to the next sign, which I think is Scorpio since I did Libra last. So more to come on that. I'll make sure that I post at least the next video so that you know when I'm coming back. And then I'll do my daily cards. Even if I'm on the road or if I'm trying to get stuff set up, I'll do that as well. Also, thank you to LJ Dunn too. All right, everyone, have a great day and a great week ahead. And thank you for taking some time today. You guys are amazing. Let's see, one more here. Nikima or Nichima and Monica Renicki, thank you as well. And Janine K. A bunch of latecomers here. Thank you so much for your generosity. All right, take care, everyone. I'll see you soon. Lots of love and light to you, okay? Thanks again. Bye-bye.